biggest story of the day on India Upfront. Viewers, the TMC Supremo Mamta Banerjee and Bengal's Chief Minister. Her politics was forged in the cauldron of agitational politics. You may not agree with Mamta Banerjee's views, but you can't deny that she has used the power of dissent to further Indian democracy. At times, as this picture proves, at great risk to her own life. In 1990, who can forget the moment when she was hit on the head by a CPIM youth leader, resulting in her being confined to a hospital bed for a month. Viewers, this was a venal attack on her right to protest in a democracy. Viewers, remember this picture. Remember this picture. There can be nothing more revolting than the sight of a peaceful protester, an unarmed protester, only powered by her or his convictions, being beaten, thrashed by the strong arm of the state. It is, viewers, abuse of power. Perhaps inspired by her legacy, TMC MPs routinely protest assaults on democracy. Viewers, look to your extreme right. What do you see? You see pictures that show TMC MPs in Parliament in Delhi at the foot, sometimes, of Gandhiji's statue. What are they doing? They're exercising their right to protest. They are exercising their right to ask questions of the government that we elect, but can only question through the opposition or through the courts. Viewers, therefore it reeks of a disturbing duplicity when Mamta Banerjee's administration deploys the state's machinery to crack down on dissent in Bengal, much like the machinery was deployed against her in 1990. In Mamta's own state and under her own rule. One wonders if Mamta endorses this. She hasn't spoken yet, viewers. She's silent. It's the opposition's duty to ask questions, especially when mountains of cash tumble out from under mattresses of ruling party netas and heaps of gold are recovered from their homes. I will show you the pictures of that cash stash that stunned India. Sharda, Narada, Colgate, job scam, corruption that cheats you, the taxpayer. Sadly, as investigation agencies tell us, graft is getting allegedly a free run. Viewers, there is no more symbolic representation of this fact than the unaccounted haul of cash that we have become used to seeing. It's mind-numbing. But if we become insensitive to it, viewers, it will be at our cost. And if this is the case, then don't we have a right to know? And who but the opposition in a free democracy can ask that question of those in power? But look at these horrifying visuals now, viewers, from the capital of Bengal today. Let's switch to them. You see 10 images, 10 different images. And these 10 images show how lathis rained on dissent, muzzling democracy. Opposition leaders assembled perfectly peacefully were mercilessly thrashed, lathi-charged, water cannoned and tear-gassed. BJP leaders were unceremoniously detained, the cadres thrashed, even women were not spared. They had to pay with blood for daring to dissent, for asking inconvenient questions about the mountains of cash recovered from the homes of corrupt TMC mantris. What to make of all of this? The BJP, of course, has lashed out at the heavy-handed crushing of protests against corruption. But viewers, the TMC says that the BJP is out to spoil the atmosphere in the state of Bengal, and therefore they deserve what they got. Viewers, to you and I, the viewer, sitting on the sidelines, this is a sad day. It's a sad day because if the government goes scot-free, if there is no one left to ask questions of it, there will be a problem. It's not like, and I want to go to the last graphic, viewers. I want you to see this, because attacks on dissent under Didi are becoming way too common. In 2012, Jungle Mahal, man questioned Mamta over farmer suicides. He was thrown out of the meeting and arrested promptly. Can you believe it, viewers? 2014 State Secretariat activists seek the arrest of Kamduni rake accused. What happens? Viewers, booked for breaching security. In 2019, BJP worker shares a meme mocking Mamta, was arrested for sedition. July 2021, sedition charge on separatist KLO chief for openly calling Mamta an outsider. Booked for sedition. 2021 post polls. Crackdown on fake anti-government posts after polls. 34 FIRs and 21 arrests in 5 days. Viewers. In 2022, Kolkata vlogger Rodu Roy criticizes Chief Minister and nephew in video. What happens to him? He's picked up, arrested, detained. Viewers, what's going on? Can we sit by and allow this? Let's ask some basic questions. Let me go straight across to Dr. Shantanu Sen, Member of Parliament and Rajya Sabha MP and spokesperson of the TMC. We also have Dr. Anand Ranganathan. And we will be joined shortly by Shehzad Poonaval, the national spokesperson of the BJP. He's running a bit late, viewers. I want you to start with the two of them, but we'll come out first to Dr. Shantanu Sen, Member of Parliament of the Rajya Sabha and spokesperson of the TMC. Dr. Shantanu Sen, I began this show with pictures of Mamta Banerjee, and I want you to pay attention to them. Let's pull them back up. Battered and bruised because the government of the day attacked her right to dissent. I'm sure you remember those pictures. Today, that role reversal has taken place disturbingly. Why, sir? Has Mamta Banerjee decided that dissent is a crime in the state? Can you explain?
First of all, during this Mamta Banerjee's regime, during this Trinamool Congress regime, any political party can hold their political program democratically in our state of West Bengal. But today, what Bharatiya Janata Party did in our state of West Bengal is nothing but an organized, pre-planned crime, vandalism, and hooliganism. They were preparing for the same since last few weeks. They had a meeting in Vaidik village where they have spent nearly 3 crores of rupees. And for your information, you just verify it. For today's rally, they have spent 11.5 crores of rupees. I repeat, 11.5 crores of rupees. And the way they have vandalized, the way they have ransacked the government properties, the way they have assaulted police personnel, the way they have set police vehicles on fire, and the way they have tried to create communal violence.
Dr. Sen.
It is absolutely condemnable.
Dr. Sen.
It is no way part of democracy.
Dr. Sen, I can't even see you on air. Can you please correct your frame? You've slipped out of the frame. Can you just reposition yourself so I can see you properly? Because we can only see one eyeball of yours. Thank you. Can you just reposition yourself in this frame, sir? Thank you. Okay. So TMC says that this was not a peaceful protest. This was orchestrated violence. Shehzad Poonaval, how do you respond politically to this charge?
You know, today, Rahul, I thought that the full form of TMC was too much corruption, but I would say that it has changed to Tanashahi mindset and culture. And this Tanashahi mindset and culture was visible on the streets of West Bengal when people whose only demand was that they wanted accountability for the institutionalization of corruption and corruption of every institution. They wanted answers as to why there is so much corruption in every institution in West Bengal. They were beaten up black and blue, and look at the irony of it. These are the people who are born out of Andolan. These are the people who are born out of agitation. From Nandigram to Singur, these people have advocated agitation, sometimes even violent agitation, and today those who have been born out of agitation are now saying that they will crush all kind of dissent. This is not the first time. You remember the post-poll violence. After they came to power, the kind of havoc they unleashed on the people who did not vote for them. Secondly, please answer this question, that if today what was happening was illegal and unconstitutional, these are the people who supported a protest that took place for days on end around the national capital. These are the people who supported the Shaheen Bagh agitation, which was declared unconstitutional, invalid and illegal by the Supreme Court. At that time, those protests which went on for days, which led to riots, which led to violence in various parts of the country, was supported by them, and today peaceful agitation in complete consonance with the constitution was declared illegal, and then they assaulted those who participated and did not even spare women. And look at the kind of barricades they put up. These barricades, you can put up as many barricades that you want, but you can't barricade the truth. The truth is that in every institution there is corruption, and corruption has reached every institution. I
want to remind you, in Hathras, when the state administration wrongly prevented, dissenting political parties from landing up in the village by putting up barricades, the same TMC and its leaders, several of its sympathizers said that this was a crackdown on democracy. Why should there be barricades in the way of dissent? One doesn't understand this. One cannot understand this. Dr. Ranganathan, I want to ask you, in Jungle Mahal in 2012, was the man who questioned Mamta over farmer suicides and was thrown out and arrested. Was he also arrested? Was he an incendiary? Was he an arsonist? Did he come with the backing of the BJP to topple Mamta Banerjee's government? In 2014, State Secretariat, activists that sought the arrest of Kamduni rape accused, booked for breaching security. Were they also some sort of vigilantes who had come there to carry out some dastardly attacks? BJP worker shares a meme mocking Mamta. He's arrested for sedition. Was he also at some level or the other? And I'm asking you this, arrested for sedition, was he carrying out a grand insurgency against the state?
Good evening, Rahul. You've asked very probing questions, and thank you for that very important primer that really sets the the whole debate and puts it in a perspective. Look, as far as today's violence is concerned, I totally condemn this violence. Not only what was hugely perpetrated on the BJP workers and also the ex-MP Swapan Das Gupta, but also what a few BJP workers perpetrated. So may I please disagree with Shehzad when he says that today's protests was totally peaceful. They weren't. Times now, in fact, as we speak, is showing video of BJP workers setting police vans alight and also perpetrating hooliganism and vandalism, and it is totally unacceptable. But as to the other questions that you asked, please allow me a couple of minutes because I need to explain this, give the larger perspective, because this also has to be said, that violence in Bengal has been given a free run, both by the government there and, I'm afraid, much of the media. Rahul, the signs were all there, and they go as far back as 2018 during the Bengal Panchayat elections. 20,076 seats in the Panchayat polls went uncontested. That's 34% of total seats. And as far as political violence is concerned, Trinamool makes even the communists appear novices. And knowing the communists, that takes some doing. Fast forward now to 2022. And the recent severe indictment of the West Bengal government by the Calcutta High Court should have shamed the TMC and its Albert Spears, but nothing happened. The fact that the court noted the police had not registered FIR in 60% of the cases was troubling beyond measure. In para after para, the court blasted the Bengal government. The court can no longer be a mute spectator, it said. Remember, Blood-curdling affidavits by the victims of Bengal violence were ignored by those who claimed they speak truth to power. Media was scared. Judges were recusing. And those human rights activists and the Roys and the Seetalwals, they wake up only when victims are not Hindu women. The journalists and the activists keep saying, we speak truth to power, we speak truth to power. But in reality, these cowards, they speak truth only to Modi. Not when those in power are Vijayan or Mamata. They dismiss the gut-wrenching violence and mass exodus and retribution as orchestrated by the fascist BJP. But multiple instances of violent attacks and murder were also reported by the Congress and the CPIM. So the BJP was colluding with the Congress and the communists now. Sitaram Yechury is a Sanghi. That's why I call them children of Goebbels. Because it was Goebbels who said, the first rule of propaganda is to accuse the other of what you are guilty of. They whitewash their own crimes with the help of their media stooges. They whitewash religious fundamentalism and fanaticism if the religion is not Hinduism. They whitewash application of draconian laws when it suits them, as you gave the examples of sedition. They peddle fraudulent reports that claim India is no longer a democracy. Rahul, just 20 seconds. The fact is that they ignore evidence of rape, torture, exodus, communalism, bigotry and intolerance if it happens in a non-BJP state, and especially Bengal. Rahul, let Bengal's government's atrocities not be airbrushed today or whatabouteried today by the unacceptable and criminal behavior today by a few BJP activists.
Well, let me tell you, viewers, there is a pattern to this. Dr. Ranganathan says that speaking truth to power is discouraged in the state. And he is pointing out visuals now of Swapan Das Gupta.
I want to ask Dr. Sen, the good Dr. Sen, is this gentleman, Dr. Sen, a hooligan or a vandal? Please answer, sir.
Entire country has witnessed what BJP has done. What type of rowdyism?
Please answer, Dr.
How many
Sen.
rioters were there in this rally? What type of hooliganism they have done? Entire country has witnessed today.
And your professionalism. Please answer this question. Is this injured Dr. Swapan Das Gupta a hooligan or a vandal? Please answer. Ask your conscience.
Okay.
I have said repeatedly the entire country has witnessed what type of vandalism, what type of rowdyism, what type of hooliganism.
I can speak from some personal experience, Doctor.
I repeat, it was a
Doctor, I can speak from some personal experience.
Last few months.
I can speak from some personal experience, if you allow me, Dr. Sen. Criminal cases were slapped against me, viewers. The threat of arrest loomed large. Why? Because I reported a fact. An absolute fact. I have been summoned countless times. I have had to face interrogation at 5 in the morning, viewers, answering questions that, viewers, quite frankly, if I didn't, I would be actually doing a fantastic job, upholding a journalist's right. Viewers, when you are asked under duress to share the names of your sources, you know something is very wrong. And when you resist and you are threatened with arrest, you know there is something very wrong. I stood my ground. Viewers, I don't know if there are many out there who have had to succumb, especially those who are in the state of Bengal. So, Dr. Sen, don't tell me about democracy and dissidents and those who ask questions and how they are treated. I can tell you from personal experience, and you can go and ask your state security forces and your investigators how many times they tried to intimidate Times Now journalists, including me and some of my colleagues who were not even related to the story, viewers. So you can ask them, Dr. Sen. Those cases still stand. I can give you the numbers of those cases, and you will see for yourself, Doctor, since you're a member of Parliament, how privilege is abused to shutter the mouth of democracy. I know from personal experience. This has been a long time coming, viewers. But the fact that it is happening in a state where I believe that the leader has distinguished herself by being able to take pain to stand up for democracy is shocking. This is what is surprising. It is soul-destroying. And I want to bring in political analyst Touseef Ahmed. Sir, I have seen Mamta Banerjee's photos. In 1990, we as young students were outside AIMS during the Mangal agitations. We saw the brutal state cracking down on 15-year-olds, 14-year-olds. We know what it feels. And at that time, August 16, 1990 in Kolkata, when Mamta Banerjee's head was split open, not by one lathi blow, but by two, we saluted her courage. For 1 month, she lay in hospital. Her life hanging between life and death, viewers. She came back. She agitated again. And I think the instances have been narrated to you by Dr. Ranganathan, Shingur, Nondigram. She turned the tide. Today, the same Mamta Banerjee is silent. I don't believe she has even issued a statement. I might be wrong, but correct me on what has happened under her own nose. Touseef Ahmed, why? Why this fear of being asked questions over the mountains of cash that have been recovered from TMC leaders, allegedly after raids were conducted upon them by the central agencies? Why? Ahmed Saab.
You see, there is a difference between an andolan, there is a difference between a peaceful protest and the hooliganism and orchestrated violence, violence which were properly pre-planned, money was distributed. There is a difference between these two. Right. Because when a group of people belonging to a political party does a protest, takes out a protest, or is doing an andolan, it is for the benefit of the people. They are taking up a public cause and fighting for it. But here, BJP, what they are doing is they are just trying to bring themselves in the picture. They are trying to gain some kind of political mileage.
Wasn't it a fact? Touseef Bhai, wasn't it a fact that the barricades were nailed into the ground? And you protested those barricades being nailed into the ground when it happened outside a protest site where the farmers spent more than a year. You said that was a sign of fascism. Isn't it a fact that the barricades were nailed into the ground, sir? That means you had no intention of letting any form of protest get to Nabana. Is it not a fact?
No,
I'm asking you.
Screen, your channel screen also shows that the stones were pelted on police.
Sir, I'm asking you a simple question. I'll tackle the BJP. You don't have to tell me. I didn't silence Dr. Ranganathan when he questioned the BJP. I'll ask them those questions. You must answer, because you are a TMC sympathizer, on the question that I'm putting to you with respect to the TMC. Don't divert today. I'm asking you, weren't those barricades nailed into the ground? And how is it that barricades were nailed into the ground? You asked that question. When the barricades were nailed into the ground outside of Delhi to hold back Sikh protesters, to hold back farmers, you tell me, sir, how can there be double standards? You do it, it's okay. When someone else does it, it's an assault on democracy. Can you explain this? Just explain this simply to me.
You see, the hypocrisy of BJP has to be exposed. They are saying that they want to do a peaceful protest for corruption. When the so-called peaceful protest is led by leaders who are themselves corrupt. There are charges pending against them, yet BJP has taken no action. They continue to enjoy the post of BJP in the party, and they are coming and lecturing about corruption. Secondly, they are saying peaceful. How is this peaceful? When you are holding meetings beforehand, distributing money, orchestrating violence, a pre-planned violence, the people who came with bombs,
Ahmed
people
Saab,
who came with
lathis
and
on
video.
Can you show us?
It is seen.
Can you show us video evidence?
They put
no, 1 second. One second. Can you show us video evidence to prove that I'm wrong on the charge that these barricades were nailed into the ground?
And here, if you want me to show videos, some of the
You are going to show me videos which you have cherry-picked about BJP workers.
Where BJP workers
No, turning
can be seen.
I'm asking you, sir. I'm asking you, what are barricades doing? What are barricades doing?
Prime Minister
nailed into the ground. Simple question, sir.
That these can.
Okay, you don't want to answer those questions. You want to deflect blame. Viewers, notice this.
Holding BJP
blame is being deflected.
People
the same way Mamta Banerjee protested, blame being deflected under the CPIM rule. She said at the time, one second, sir. You are sounding like today a CPM comrade from the government of Buddhadev Bhattacharya. When during Singur, what did he say? Correct. That the protesters were armed Naxals. That is what he said. That was also said, viewers, about the protesters who accompanied Mamta Banerjee in 1990, that they were out to destroy the peace. That's why we had to resort to this overwhelming force. But nonetheless, Shehzad Poonaval, there are two charges. You invited this. You invited this because you were armed to the teeth to do all of this. This is not a crackdown on dissent, but it's a crackdown on hooliganism. How do you respond?
Rahul, if this was indeed an armed protest, then we wouldn't have our former Deputy Mayor Meena Devi Purohit being brutalized. We wouldn't have Swapan Das Gupta being beaten up black and blue. We wouldn't have the NCW taking cognizance of how male policemen were outraging the modesty of our women protesters and beating them up brutally. We wouldn't have a situation where people's heads are split open, and we wouldn't have a situation where 300 BJP workers have been killed over the last few years under Mamta's watch. Who is Anil Barman, Raja Samanto, Arup Ruidas, Thiren Barman, Nirmal Mandal, Vijit Sarkar, Debrata Maiti? Who are these people? Are these people who have killed themselves? Or are these people who are wielding some weapons and they were killed in police action? The fact of the matter is that it's not just corruption, but even violence that has been institutionalized. Yes, I concede to Anand Ranganathan. There may have been an odd incident where a policeman, when brutalizing some of our workers, the workers must have retaliated in self-defense. But can that be compared to the violence that is institutionalized by the state government of West Bengal? Can that be compared to the fact that rule of law was replaced by law of the ruler in the post-poll violence, as has been said by the Calcutta High Court? Can that deny that this was done in an institutional manner?
These are not barricades. These are a wall. This is a wall almost that has been constructed there. The BJP workers are trying to shake the barricades. They're absolutely unmovable. Who prepares to this extent? And if they actually knew that the BJP workers had bombs and they had lathis, why weren't they arrested much in advance when they were collecting all these bombs, viewers? That signals intelligence failure.
Many of them were arrested in the morning.
That signals intelligence failure. Let me bring in.
This protest was in the public domain for many days.
Let me bring in. 1 second.
Rahul, the fact of the matter is that TMC people planted goons in this protest to attack police and police stations to make it look as if the BJP was orchestrating the violence. This was all sponsored by the TMC.
Look at those shots. Days before the protest, welding work going on to erect these barricades. You see, viewers, they never answered these questions. This was a premeditated decision to blockade a protest. It's there. Let's go back. Yes, Mohd Zeeshan wants to come in. Political analyst, who's independent. Political analyst speaking here. He comes in to be the voice of the public, viewers. Now listen to him. Zeeshan Mohammed speaking up for you. Those who are being looted by the graft. Zeeshan Mohammed speaks up for the public of Bengal who wants to know how is it that money is coming out of people's homes. Zeeshan Mohammed today is going to be your voice. Watch him. Hear him. Yes. Mr. Mohammed, I want to ask you, do we not have a right as the public to ask questions through the opposition about why money is being showing up with monotonous regularity in unaccounted bundles in TMC Neta's homes? This is the allegation that is being made. It is backed by this. Do we have a right, yes or no? Mohd Zeeshan. I can't hear you, sir.
Vandalizing public property. Vandalizing public property doesn't come under democracy.
I'm asking you, do we have a right? And who is going to ask those questions?
We have the right.
Really?
The Constitution provides us the right
So
to
you want to
protest.
tell me that spraying tear gas shells upon women who are unarmed clearly, beating them black and blue,
you tell
like
me one
Mamta
thing,
Banerjee
Rahul.
was,
First
is
tell
a
me,
way
am I
of
audible?
encouraging,
Am I audible?
is a way
First
of
tell me.
encouraging
First
Mr.
tell me, am I
Mohammed.
audible?
Mr. Mohammed, is it
Am
a
I
way of
audible? First tell
encouraging
me.
questions being asked of an administration? Just answer me this question. At least have the guts to
Yeah.
say violence
I'm
in
having
all
the
forms
guts.
is
I'm
wrong.
having the guts to speak. You tell me, Rahul, one thing. Pelting stones, throwing bricks at the police officers who do their duty 24/7 to secure the public lives. Does it come under agitation? Does it come under asking questions from the government? You have to answer this.
Does it come
And
under
here Mr.
questions?
Poonawala-
Asking questions peacefully.
Zishan, I'm answering the question.
Dr. Ranganathan,
Zishan, I'm answering the question.
Answer that question.
Zishan, I'm answering the question. Zishan, I'm answering the
How is this
question.
peaceful?
Yes, Zishan, I'm answering the question. Now, can you hear me out? Zishan, now I'm answering the question. Please have the patience to hear me out. Can I answer the question, Zishan? Thank you. Zishan, by your same parameter, by your parameter, I would then like you to condemn Mamta Banerjee and everybody else who supported the Agnipath so-called agitation because property was vandalized. Those who justified the so-called Andolan where the Republic Day, our tricolor was desecrated and then policemen were thrown into a ditch and policemen were hurt and beaten up black and blue, and also the CA riots that took place in the aftermath of the Shaheen Bagh movement. Now I want Zishan, you to condemn all those who stood with these movements. Condemn all those who stood with these movements. Condemn all those who stood with these movements.
She supported the issue. She never supported the vandalization. She never supported the breach of peace. I think you are into a confusion. And that's quite normal.
Then did she say, did Mamta Banerjee, did Rahul Gandhi appeal once that the violence in the name of Agnipath should stop? Did they appeal once that Shaheen Bagh should get up? Did they appeal once that the Andolan that was taking place along the borders of Delhi should be packed up and moved out because it was going on in Supreme Court? When was the announcement made by Mamta Banerjee or by Rahul Gandhi or by their ilk to say that, look, this is violent, this is not justified? Tell me their statement.
Does BJP believes in the definition of protest by vandalizing public property? My question is to you. You have to answer on the screen now.
So do you believe, first you tell me that was the Shaheen Bagh Andolan illegal according to you? The Supreme Court declared it that. Do you condemn the Shaheen Bagh Andolan? Do you condemn the Shaheen Bagh squatting on public road? Yes or no?
Listen, I'm telling you one thing clearly.
The Supreme Court called it illegal. This is your double standards. Why don't you take off the hijab of hypocrisy and answer the question?
Of public property, the government of West Bengal.
Thousands of crores of public property and public money were wasted because of the Shaheen Bagh Andolan. Thousands of crores. It led to the CA riots. It led to violence across the country.
The way BJP attacked police officers, it was all pre-planned.
I think it's clearly evident that some protests for you are kosher even if they are steeped in violence, and some protests are not even if they are exposing the issue of corruption. That is the double standards that you and Mamta Banerjee and the TMC adopt.
Now, viewers, on your screens. Okay, gentlemen, calm down, both of you, calm down. Let's not speak over each other, please. Let's not speak over each other. 1 second. I also want viewers to draw your attention to all sorts of other violence that was happening. So what do you see, viewers? You also see not police, but some random elements in the crowd beating up the protesters also. Who are these people? We don't know. If you ask the TMC, they say they were BJP inserted goons to go after their own people. If you ask the BJP, they'll say they were TMC goons to provoke the protesters so that they would turn violent and Mamta Banerjee could justify, or her government could justify, the use of force. It's very murky, viewers. But one thing is clear. When there are violent protests happening in other states, especially BJP-ruled states, and the BJP chief ministers resort, or the BJP government's resort to force to quell those protesters who might have turned rioters, the charge is the government, the center, the chief ministers of those BJP-run states are all Hitlers. Here, viewers, the role is reversed. That is what is a little hypocritical about this. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan, you wanted to come in.
Yeah, very briefly, Rahul. With due respect, you introduced one Mr. Zeeshan as an independent political analyst. The true test for independence is one question that if I may ask him, and the independence of a person is determined by a very simple yes or no. It's the easiest and the best test for independence. So, will you allow me to answer your question? Why are you rattled so quickly?
Sorry to say.
Rahul, can you look at
One second.
Mohd
Zeeshan, listen to the question. You can respond. I'll give you all the time. Let him ask the question. Let him ask. Yes. Dr. Ranganathan, ask the question.
So let me ask this question.
Yeah.
Let me ask this question to this gentleman who's already rattled. I reiterate what Shehzad said. Mr. Zeeshan, do you consider the 1-year-long Shaheen Bagh blockade that the Supreme Court considered illegal? Do you consider it as illegal, yes or no? Himmat hai to bolo.
Is your question complete? May I answer? First tell me that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is your question complete?
Answer, please.
The Supreme Court gave the decision regarding Shaheen Bagh as a responsible citizen of India. I cannot cross the decision of Supreme Court. I'm reiterating, anywhere in the city, in the state, in the country, if any illegal public vandalization or if anything which is against constitution is happening, we are against it. But if the issue
Rahul,
is
now can I come in? Can I come in now?
Let him finish.
No, I'm telling
have you responded?
The Shaheen Bagh issue, we supported it.
Okay.
We supported the issue of Shaheen Bagh. But if anything which happened illegally against the constitution...
For 2 years, he never even uttered one word saying that the Shaheen Bagh protest is illegal. Shehzad is there.
I'm not telling.
Shehzad is there. He will confirm this.
No,
today,
not just that.
When he's cornered.
Did Mamta Banerjee?
No, he's saying it's not illegal.
The issue was supported by the TMC.
Oh, he's saying it's not illegal.
TMC or the West Bengal people.
He's saying it's not illegal. So much for independence.
Illegal. It was against the constitution. If any of the miscreants or any of the irresponsible...
What do you mean miscreants?
...did anything wrong...
They blocked a road.
They
blocked a main road for 1 year.
But Mr. Ranganathan, I have one
If they were sitting outside your house for 1 year, would you have termed it as legal?
Ask one question.
Would you have termed it as legal or illegal?
No, one second.
These are simple questions. You know, I mean, I don't know what the controversy is about. It's simple question. And they test the independence. They test the... No, you haven't answered it. You said it is legal.
What answer are you expecting?
Why did you say it is legal?
I cannot repeat the statement which you are trying to put into my mouth. I've already...
Rahul, this is, as I said, the proof of the pudding is in the eating.
The issue was supported.
So next time you use the epithet of independent political commentator.
If speaking the truth, supporting the truth is biased for you, then I'm really sorry.
Just for a day, try and speak truth to Mamta Didi also. हमेशा मोदी को ही सच बताते रहोगे, थकते नहीं हो. कभी पिनराई विजयन को भी बता दो. कभी बुरहान वानी को बता दो, कभी ममता बनर्जी को बता दो.
Gentlemen, okay, now let's, we are descending into a, 1 second, we are descending into a, 1 second, please, gentlemen, please. Look, we are all passionate people, viewers, we are all passionate people, but there are some rules. So let's just don't speak over each other. I just want to come in for 30 seconds. Excuse me, Mr. Poonaval, 1 second. I just want to come in for 30 seconds. The question that I want to ask today, viewers, is very simple. How is it that the barricades that were set up had such a permanence about them? Why were they nailed into the ground? Because, you see, this question I'm picking up from the opposition that asked that question of the Modi government at the center, when on the outskirts of Delhi, on the borders of Delhi, farmers protested, if you remember, viewers, in occupied highways. Same question. So how is it that at that time it was a travesty? It was an attempt to muzzle, not even dissent, viewers, just a protest, an ordinary protest. How is it that, viewers, none of these politicians spoke up against the desecration of the Red Fort on Republic Day, when, forget about lathis, protesters showed up on tractors and ran over police? Where was then, viewers, the concern for democracy, for decorum? Zero. No one spoke up, viewers. In fact, the very next day, they went and shared the stage in solidarity with the protesters. So you see, viewers, what goes around comes around. No one is legitimizing any violence, let me tell you. But if you don't set a consistent example and don't lead by it, you're going to have problems and you're going to be tested. And that is what you're seeing on your screens. Now, Dr. Ranganathan, at the end of the day, what is it that the viewer wants? What is it that the ordinary man in Bengal wants? He wants answers to some basic questions. And the only person he can turn to in the absence of any other recourse is the opposition, in the hope that those questions will be asked on their behalf by an opposition. Isn't it? Or am I wrong? Or have I misunderstood democracy?
No, absolutely right. As long as, Rahul, the few caveats, of course, are there that the opposition doesn't violate the law of the land. If they do, then there are repercussions. Absolutely. And as I already said in the beginning of what I said, that I totally condemn any violence perpetrated by, and Shehzad agreed with me. I think it is, I credit Shehzad, creditable for him to agree with me that the violence perpetrated by a few BJP workers is totally unacceptable. You were showing the videos of them setting police vans alight. That is totally unacceptable. That is not the way opposition should ask questions. But this has to be said, that the same people who are for blockading, protests that last for a year, blockading highways, illegally, termed illegal by the Supreme Court, are today casting an unfair light on these protests. I think that is laughable hypocrisy, and you've exposed it.
Well, viewers, you can, of course, tweet with a hashtag Loktantra pe Lathi. It cuts both ways, unfortunately. It's only that the protagonists differ. Their stance and postures differ. If it's a BJP-ruled state, it's an assault on democracy. If it's their own ruled state, then it's an attack on the institutions of democracy. That's what it is. I move on.